I am Natalie. In my work as a healer, therapist, and in this podcast, I consult the spirits, guides, and counselors. I have been working this way for over 13 years, and this connection has existed from the day I entered this world. In this podcast, In the Heart of Being, a spiritual journey, the spirits, guides, and counselors connect me to the layers of being, dimensions, and the library of knowledge, where we connect the spirit with the body, which I love to share with you all. Will you join us in our quest, weaving the unknown into the known? So welcome. Today, me, the spirits, the guides, and the counselors going to talk about the language we speak. They say it is a very important subject because we rarely think about it. But the things we tell ourselves inside ourselves are so sometimes devastating, they say. And we don't ever realize it. We use a lot of words, for example, never. What I've noticed in my life, when I use the word never, not long after that it becomes a reality. And most of the times when we use the word never, it's something that we truly do not want in our lives. So I want to ask you to just listen to the words you use. Which language are you speaking inside yourself? Which words do you use? And what is the outcome of that? And then you also have to notice the words you use when you're with someone else. We have so many ideas which we postulate into the world, or which we tell to our friends or other people around us, and they make us feel a certain way. So we can uplift ourselves by using certain words, but we also can downgrade ourselves into the tiniest version of whoever we could have been, you know? And when I was younger, I had this language in which I would put myself down with almost everything I said. And the worst was the things I thought inside me. As in a way, I never felt good enough, or I always felt very insecure, and I felt very lonely. The words I used made me feel that I deserved the way I felt. And later on, I started noticing that the effect of the words I used inside myself. And slowly I started to change, not because I believe that you always have to be positive, because that's not what it is about, but there are many ways to say something. And you have a lot of words that are more neutral in a way. Not positive, not negative, but they can give a certain outcome, which is not good or bad, but it is an outcome. When I started realizing that most of the things that happened in my life, that I was the constant factor of everything that happened, I also realized that I was the one that could make the change, not becoming being overly positive, but becoming real and becoming honest, and not making it better or worse by using certain words. So do you even know which word you use often? For me, words as never and I must and I need and I want, those were the words that kept me in prison for a long time. And the spirits tell me, and sometimes you still fall into the trap of them. I say, yes, I do. Because the patterns are very deep, and most of the times they have to do with the experiences we had in our lives. The people we met, the places where we grew up, the schools we attended, the books we read, because it is all around us to look at ourselves in a certain way. That is something we need to overcome, and to realize that everything we think becomes a reality. It's the same as if we watch a movie. For us, it's real. It's not just a movie. Our whole body responds on the things it sees, our eyes see. And the same is with the words. Even that we don't speak them out loud, inside. We hear them, and it travels all the way down to ourselves. So sometimes people find it very difficult to change outcomes in their lives. And they try everything. They try to change it in the outside world. But it has to become from the inside world. And that has to do with the way you look at yourself. And most of the times it has to do with the way you talk to yourself inside ourselves. Because we all talk to ourselves. Even if we don't use the words out loud, we think in a certain way. And that creates a certain behavior. And the more we understand this, the more the behavior changes. Because when we start noticing the words we use often and how they reflect a certain feeling inside ourselves, then we can decide if it is something that uplifts us or puts us down. That gives us the possibility to change it. And sometimes we don't know which way we would want to change it. But then you just tell yourself, this word I try not to use anymore. Or how you want to say it to yourself. Yeah, the spirits always tell me, you are the wrestlers, If you would be more your heart, life would become so much more easier. And this is also something that if we do not know other words, even if you don't want to use the word must or never or not, but you haven't any clue of what to replace it with, then in a way, if we reconnect with our heart, then it instantly comes to us how we would want to change it or how it would uplift ourselves. Because when the words inside ourselves uplift us, then it is like this whole chain reaction goes all the way into ourselves and it starts activating the true essence, the true identity actually of what's inside of us, and culture and civilizations and I don't know, everything that has been put inside us, everything that we see, everything that we hear, just creates a certain language. But when we go back to the language of the heart, then we come close to ourselves, and then our true identity is the one that just comes forth. So when we start listening to the way and the words we use when we talk to ourselves or when we explain ourselves to someone else, then we start to notice where we are speaking from the heart or where we are speaking from experience. And sometimes it's good to have certain experience because then we know that this is not something that uplifts us in our lives, but it's something that puts us down or makes us feel bad. And with everything that we experience, there is growth if we can see it. But it doesn't mean that we have to do it over and over and over again because, when do we learn? Let's say for now that if there's something to learn or if there is growth, that from now on you just have to do it once and you will get the message. Because, do it over and over again in a way creates disappointment. Because then we will start to believe inside ourselves and we will create words for dealing with certain situation. Oh, this is the same as then, and oh, this reminds me of when that happened in my life. And with that, we take all the whole energy of that experience to this point in our life. And we recreate the same thing. So, the language of the heart is an easy one. It just comes. It has no thought. It just is. And when we get into the space of not knowing how to replace a certain word, a certain feeling, because it's not about replacing it. It's about opening up for the not knowing, because then the heart will step in. And when the heart steps in, the words just start flowing more easily. and true to ourselves. And the spirits tell me that they are becoming more confident that we as humans will find our way different than we did in the past. As they say, the path of harmony is opening up, which means that more people find their way back to their heart and want to speak from this place where the words have true meaning, because closer than this, in the body, we cannot come. So listen to the words you use, because they're so important. And when you open up to this not knowing, the words will spill out one after another. And before you know it, we all start walking to peace. This is funny, because I wanted to say the harmony, and they were talking about peace. I said, so I got confused. And actually, it's about we will walk the path of harmony, the path of harmony. This will end up in peace. Because when those words that are putting us down become less and less and less, and we open up to the language of the heart, then harmony is something that just comes with it. Because for speaking from the heart, we become silent. At least our mind does. And when that happens, in a way, duality ceases to exist, and unity arises. And when unity comes, then peace is something that follows. For in unity, right or wrong is irrelevant. So they are very confident about this. They say, we see the change happening. More and more people walking the path of harmony, even if we don't see it yet in the outside world. Inside, changes are happening, and with that, new language will be born. Next time, me, the spirits, the guides, and the counselors, and perhaps Disha or Anouk, well, we will talk about duality, growing older, common ground. There's still so many topics to cover. First I would know which one would come next, but in a way we are freewheeling, the spirits, the guides, and the counselors, and me. And then sometimes just this thing comes up that needs to be talked about, and this is what we will do. But I still have two beautiful ones, like duality and growing older, and they also want to be shared. So maybe from now on we will share a little bit more, not every once a week perhaps, instead of once every 2 weeks. But we will see what will happen. But for now I want to thank you all for listening. And if you want to know more, you can connect with us on natalienevely.nl and on Instagram, in the heart of being. Thank you for listening. See you next time.